Hey everyone, this is the general reading for Aries Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, and Cross Watchers. Happy birthday to all my Aries out there. I hope you are doing very well. I just want to do a little bit of housekeeping before we begin your reading. I had such a big influx of followers or subscribers and comments and just beautiful messages that came forward from people. So thank you all so much. It means so much to me to feel that kindness, to feel that gratitude. I am so grateful that I get to share these messages with all of you. And I also want to say, I know that some of you were messaging me for private readings. For some reason, some of the emails were actually going to spam. It was happening on my end, and it was also happening on the end of some of my clients. So if you didn't hear back from me, the email might be in your spam. So make sure to check your spam box, just FYI. If you are interested in getting a personal reading with me, I have links down below with my website, or you can send me an email. I also submitted my notes for the astrological information for this video. I put that as a blog post on my website as well, which I have also linked down below. Anyway, without further ado, I'm just going to start going into kind of the energy and the astrology for April. I want to say that there has been a lot of emphasis on relationships that have come up at this time. We had your season started off with a Libra full moon, which was opposing the sun, and there might have been some big confrontations in relationships, or just some big realizations, or big... A lot of energy was being put into the dysfunctional parts of relationships, how we show up in relationships, or how other people show up in our relationships. And it could potentially involve things like compromising yourself or not yielding, that sort of thing. And that's kind of a weird thing to start off Aries with, because Aries is so much a go-getter. They're very independent. It's a weird way to start off the season. And I was doing some shuffling with the cards before, and it seemed like a lot of you were dealing with issues from the past. There was a lot of healing that actually happened for you last month. It might not have felt like a lot was happening, and it might have felt dampening to you, but I actually promise that was a good thing. If that's what it feels like. If it felt heavy, it's because there were things you needed to move through. There were things you needed to heal. We did also have Saturn and Pluto were conjunct in Capricorn, and that is potentially squaring some of these Aries placements as well. So it's important to be mindful of your actual natal chart when I'm referencing this astrological information, or just be aware of what's going on with the stars if you don't have access to that. Because there was that square, there was some conflict, again, with the ways you achieve status, the ways you show up in the world, and a lot of transformation and shedding that was happening, a lot of growth, and it wasn't necessarily comfortable for you. And it was all meant, however, to really help you grow. And I actually started recording this video at 1:11, so that right there is telling me that a lot of you are you're on new beginnings. New beginnings are on the horizon for you. If they haven't already begun, it's about to come your way, or you're already stepping into that. I think that's a perfect thing. That's the perfect time for Aries season, right? You are the first sign of the zodiac. You are the beginning of something new. And that's very much coming to the forefront of everyone's mind as well. There could potentially be some new love that's happening in April, or potentially it started in March with Aries. But I'm thinking more towards the second half of April, with Mercury and Venus going into your sign. There will be a big shift, given that Mercury was retrograde in Pisces, and it's still going to be in Pisces. Things were kind of slow. They were a bit confusing. There was a lot of lack of clarity. It was a very intuitive time, and it's still going to be a bit intuitive time for a while. But towards the end of the month, you may start to have to make some quick decisions. Suddenly things are just coming out of nowhere. That does also happen with Mercury retrograde as well. We are in that post-shadow phase now, finally, right? But that can still be a bit challenging. I have to warn you, because when you have Mercury going retrograde, things can get very murky. There will be miscommunications and misunderstandings that you might not even realize are happening until after Mercury goes direct. So it can actually be the hardest part of the retrograde is when it goes direct again, when it's in that post-shadow phase. And it's going to be there until April 7th. And there will be, I believe there is another conjunction on that day, or some sort of sextile with, I want to say with Neptune. Yes, with Neptune. And it's going to kind of be finishing up the spiritual downloads we've been getting, the intuitive insights we've been getting, all of this dream work that's been happening, all the stuff that's been happening in your subconscious. It's finally going to finish installing, is the message I'm getting. And sudden things might just manifest very suddenly. Things might happen very quickly. So that's very, I'm very curious to see what's going to happen for April. It feels like it's going to be a nice start to things. It might feel a little slow, and then all of a sudden, bam, all of this stuff is happening at once. But that's kind of your style, Aries, so I think you'll do just fine. I'm going to start looking into the cards in just a moment. I just want to think if there's anything else that's coming up. We do have some outer planets that are going retrograde as well. We do have Jupiter, Saturn, and Pluto all going retrograde. But that's going to be more towards the end of April. So I think that might be something I'm going to discuss more for next month's video. I will just say briefly, though, that there is going to be a lot of reflection that's going to be happening at the end of the month. There is going to kind of be, especially with Jupiter in Sagittarius going retrograde, there's going to be this emphasis on where is all of this taking me? Where am I going with my life? What am I doing? What am I doing next? It's going to be, and I feel like that's what you were sort of doing in March as well. You did have the Three of Wands when I was shuffling the deck. That did fall out for you. And that tells me that a lot of you are looking forward. You're waiting for things to come to manifest. And it might have felt like it just wasn't happening. But that's because there was still layers of you that needed to be healing. There were still wounds that were coming up. And it might have felt like, really, why is this never ending? It's because you still need to integrate the old. You still need to heal those old wounds before new energy can come in. And I see that it was a very powerful time for you, but it was also a very reclusive and almost hermit time for you. It felt like the hermit energy. But yeah, I see that a lot of you are looking forward, and you're seeing how you've changed, how things have changed, what you've lost. There's going to be some reflection on that as well. What is still there is also going to be really important for you. The ways you're showing up in the world, the ways you achieve status, the ways you climb to the top. I think there's going to be a lot of reassessment for everyone, but with Saturn and Pluto still in Capricorn, that is potentially squaring you. So you may still be getting a lot of tense energy. I hate to say, but it's very much for the sake of your transformation, and you just have to trust that you're shedding what no longer serves you. So I am going to now look at the cards here. What are the general messages for Aries in April 2019? What is the past energy that is coming into play for April 2019 for Aries? I was just told to shuffle 5 times. And then just one more. Let's see what we have. So I have the Hierophant, the Two of Wands in reverse, and the Knight of Wands in reverse. So with all of this reverse fire energy, this is just kind of confirming to me that yes, this was a reflective time for you. There was a lot of things that you may have wanted to move forward, but you felt a bit stuck or restricted. You could potentially have been dealing with some sort of organization or even family members that were holding you back. And that's still kind of playing out into April. That's kind of what's setting the tone or setting the stage. There was this feeling of being oppressed, this feeling of being weighed down by tradition or some sort of old or outdated system. I see that you might have had a hard time feeling past that with this Two of Wands in reverse. You might have had some black and white thinking about things. You weren't thinking about things very worldly. There's just a lot of restriction, it feels like, with these two cards together. I'm getting the sense that a lot of you just feel very bogged down. A lot of you felt very weighed heavily on. And with this Knight of Wands in reverse, there could actually have been another fire sign that you were communicating with or had some sort of conflict with that really took up some time last month. So this could be an Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius, or just someone who's very fiery or has a lot of fire in their chart. It seems like you had a hard time communicating with this person, or you were just having a hard time, I think, figuring out what it is that you wanted to do, what you wanted to do next. The horizons weren't looking very clear for you. And I think that's just because you really did need to heal whatever wasn't healed from the past. That's just something that keeps coming up in your read. You could also have been dealing with a Taurus as well, especially if you live with one or work with one with this Hierophant card. I do see there might have been some conflict with them, or there might have not been seeing an eye to eye, potentially, or just some sort of misunderstanding. And again, that might not even become apparent until April 7th or so. So what is the animal wisdom for Aries, for this past energy that's playing out still? Some of you might have also been leaving behind a contentious situation or contentious communication, especially if it was with a fire sign or a Taurus. There might have been some moving past. I do have this bear card that just popped out for you, and this tells me that things were definitely moving slower than you had wanted. That again is kind of Taurus energy too, taking its time. That just happens with a Mercury retrograde. But things were beginning. A lot of you were starting to have awakenings. I think of spring with this card, kind of spiritual awakenings, new beginnings, coming out of hibernation, coming out of this dormant, sleepy state. And you still felt a little groggy. I still think you're kind of finishing up those downloads like I was talking about earlier, that new spiritual information or those emotional insights that you were having. You're still processing it, but it does seem like you're already putting it into motion. It's not the most graceful process right now, but this is definitely confirmation for new beginnings. Again, with bear, that is spring, that is a slow start to something. Even if that doesn't feel good, even if things aren't happening as quickly as you'd want it to happen, I think it's really important to recognize that it's almost better to start things off slow. If you didn't hit the ground running, that's okay. It's kind of just you building up your momentum. And I see that might have been an issue for a lot of you with this Knight of Wands in reverse as well. Mentally, you were feeling like things were just taking forever, it wasn't going anywhere, or someone just up and left a situation. So you might have just had to leave something behind that was taking too long. But I do see, regardless of the case, there is new beginnings for you. Shuffle twice. Okay. I'm going to now look at the beginning of April, what's going to be coming to manifest. Oops. This feels really good, Aries. I have to say, I know you've been really going through some stuff. You've been going through some hard time. I feel like you and Pisces have both, that axis is really feeling a lot this year. There's a lot of feeling stuck or restriction or like you're never going to get there. But I want to say that you're actually in a better place than I think you realize with this. And you're going towards something stable. There is something stable here for you, and you may not be recognizing it, but it is good, even if it's a bit traditional for you. There is still some good stability. You have good foundations right now. Even if it feels like everything's going to shit, it's kind of just showing you what's no longer working or what you don't actually want. So just recognize that. And again, a lot of this feels more internal than external stuff that's happening. It feels more like these are internal shifts that's happening within Aries. I do have this Page of Wands in reverse, the Hanged Man, and the Queen of Pentacles. So right at the start, it does seem like there is still some more waiting on things. You could potentially be meeting a fire sign or have some sort of closed off interaction with a fire sign, you know, so that could be another Aries, a Leo, or a Sagittarius. There might be some conflict, to be honest, with someone close to you as well that could potentially be in the home or at work, someone who's very much a part of your daily life. There could be some sort of conflict there. I do see that you're still very guarded. You're still looking at your options with this Hanged Man, but I think you're using it more to your advantage next to this Queen of Pentacles. This could also, again, be an earth sign. So I did say there was Taurus in the past. It could also be a Virgo or a Capricorn. You might be communicating with them a lot at the beginning of April. But I still see that there isn't something that's connecting. I still see that there needs to be a new perspective or a different angle that's taken before you really have the clarity to move forward. And I think you are going to be getting some spiritual insights, especially April 7th, as I said, when Mercury is going to be out of that post-shadow phase and it's going to be sextiling Neptune. I do feel like that's going to be finishing off a lot of things that were brewing in the subconscious. It's finally going to come to the surface. It's finally all going to become clear. And this is a Pisces card too, actually. Some of you may be meeting a Pisces who is very near and dear to your heart at the beginning of April, or this is someone who's really going to come to play. You might be falling for a Pisces, actually. That could be some of you. I don't suspect that's a lot of you. Or someone who has a lot of Pisces in their chart. What is the animal wisdom for the beginning of April for Aries? I actually got two. I have hyena, and I have the fire ants card. So with these two cards, and with this Page of Wands, in reverse, this Page of Wands in reverse, this is telling me that there is some conflict that is brewing. There is definitely some tension that isn't being addressed. It might even be masked with humor or this fake laughter. It's almost like someone who's laughing a bit too hard at things, too hard at your jokes. There's definitely this tension that's just not being addressed. And for both of these cards together, I'm actually getting the sense that having time to yourself will still be really important to you at the beginning of April. You might want to take walks at night by yourself if that's something that you can do. I actually think that'd be very good to help you cool off from this tension and really kind of dispel this heat. I do see there's actually a need for sobriety as well with this hyena card. Someone who has kind of like this drunken laughter is part of this energy. And so you may need to be sobering up at the beginning of April, whatever that means. That doesn't necessarily mean booze. It could also be drugs. It could also be even just from foods or substances like that, or anything that's addictive. I think there's some real need to stop engaging in these behaviors, especially with the Hanged Man. I think you're going to be disengaging from a lot of things that are dysfunctional and toxic for you. And with this Queen of Pentacles, I still see that there was the Three of Wands that came up for you earlier in the pre-shuffle when I was meditating on your energy. And this is kind of a similar energy. It's you've planted the seeds and you're just waiting for things to grow. It's a longer term investment. You are looking out longer term for the start of April. You are really trying to figure out what your next step is. And I think you have a better sense of that now, even though things may still seem a bit blocked off, or you can't actually move forward with them quite yet. There may be some delay still. I do see that you are moving towards stability in the long run. That is still something you're thinking about, even if it feels like it's being blocked off by some sort of conflict. Someone may still be holding you back from moving forward, but I still see you're not so wrapped up in it that you're not looking forward. It's draining your energy, and you may need to have a more direct talk with them. There may be a need to have a real conversation and just be like, look, I know the past has been really rocky between us, but I've felt this tension between us, and I've not quite known what to do about it. That seems like something that's really important. Don't hide behind this mask of laughter. Don't act like a jokester or a trickster. It's time to get really honest and to be really serious, because you're feeling quite stuck. You're definitely feeling oppressed coming into this month, or things have been slower or delayed. And I think having that uncomfortable conversation will actually help you quite a great deal, especially when Mercury is still going to be in Pisces. That is still time to communicate vulnerability to people. And now that it's going direct, it's like the perfect time to really share what realizations you've had, or share what you've been brewing on for a while. I do see that would be very healing to you. And it is referencing Pisces still with this card. So definitely consider that, if that's making any sense, or if that's resonating for you at all. It may be time to come forward and to be vulnerable, to not just show half of yourself, to show the whole truth. I'm now going to look into the end of April, potentially into May, just to kind of see what's going on here for you. Potentially some longer term investments, or what themes you're going to be working on for a while yet. What is the future energy for Aries? You're definitely thinking a lot about the future. I keep shuffling and nothing's coming out, so it still seems like you're weighing your options. Interesting. We have the Lovers. That's always a fun card to come out, right? Gonna get two more. Wow. One more. Now the anticipation's killing you, right? This is, wow. I gotta say, this is looking good, Aries. Ooh, that's too many. I think it's this one. Yep, it's that one. Wow. Things really are looking quite nice for you. I have to say, you have this Lover's card. You have the Four of Wands. And you have the Three of Cups. Celebration, union, coming together. This is just so, wow. This is like wedding. I almost get the sense a lot of you might be attending a wedding or some sort of celebration, just coming together with friends, reuniting with old friends, going out, having a good time, finding love, finding someone to build a life with, some new stability. You might be moving into a new home. You might have found a new place to live by the end of the month. It's whew, that's good, right? I'm very happy for you, Aries. This feels really good. And I do want to say, though, with these future cards, it doesn't necessarily mean that these things are going to just happen to you. You still need to do the work. You're still doing the healing at the start of April, but know that if you keep on this healing journey, if you do express yourself, you are opening up to the universe. You are opening up this new love connection. this is very nice. This could also represent a Gemini as well. Some of you may be getting close to a Gemini or reconnecting with a Gemini. There may, I almost wonder if there's like a third party situation going on, or some sort of open relationship or polyamorous relationship with this Three of Cups. This can kind of indicate an extra person. But this is, it seems so good. This, like, I'm not worried. I don't feel like this is anyone cheating, really. At least I don't feel like you're the one being cheated on. It seems so, wow, this is nice. This is very positive. It seems like you just have to keep working on your stuff. And, you know, you do have Venus coming into your sign. You do have Mercury coming into your sign right towards the end of the month. I think it's the 17th and the 20th when those two signs are entering. So there's a lot of new beginnings. There might be some quick decisions or quick realizations that happens. There might be some new love that comes in really hot and fast. And it actually seems like it has some long-term potential, I have to say. And you're going to be feeling really, really good about it by the end of the month. So that's really exciting. I do want to just take a peek at the animal wisdom here. What is the animal wisdom for this future energy for Aries in April 2019 and beyond? Three times. I'm running out of room on my table, sorry. I do actually want to kind of change the setup at some point. I'm very limited right now with what I can do, but I do hope to eventually have, you know, a nicer backdrop instead of just this plain white wall. And I do also want to have it so you can kind of see what I'm doing and see the cards. So I am working on that stuff. But in the meantime, I think it's just important to get things started, to move forward with this. And that's just kind of been my mentality. But do know that I am planning to beautify these videos as time goes on. I'm not just going to be doing this forever, kind of haphazardly. It's very, we're very humble beginnings right now. So the animal wisdom that I got for you is the Black Egg. This is a really powerful card. This represents Vishuddha, or the throat chakra, which I believe translates as especially pure. The way I like to look at this card is that these black scales are undyeable. They are so dark that they defy any light that touches it. Black Egg is so in touch with its truth that is inside of it that it won't be tainted by anyone else's truth. And this is just so, so powerful. I also see that there is a lot of manifestation that you're going to be doing. When I think of the throat chakra, I actually think of speaking things into existence. And I forget the actual myth, but I do know that there is an order, or there was this belief that if your throat chakra was totally open and you made a practice of speaking your truth every day, of being honest, of being totally authentic in a peaceful way. Aggression isn't always your authentic self. It's authentic to that moment. It's not the integrity of who you are. Speaking to your integrity, speaking your whole truth, and expressing your whole truth, I do see that you are going to be opening up this chakra. It might be helpful for you to start working on it now, because I see that you're going to be manifesting something beautiful. And that it might very well be a partner. It might very well be a relationship, or some new stability with someone, with people you care about. But just be very mindful of what you're speaking as well, and the thoughts that you're putting out there. This can kind of be, these spirit cards have a lot of weight to them. They're always fun to get, but they have a lot of messages that come through. So it's really important that you clear this energy. there might be a need for you to speak up as well. Actually, you might be the one who has to come forward, is also a message I'm getting. You might need to be the one speaking to this person, speaking to whoever it is that you love. I see that you might be doing that towards the end of April, which actually makes sense because we do have a second full moon in Libra at the end of April. I want to say April. I actually wrote it down. That is April 19th. So there is going to be a second full moon in Libra that is going to be opposing your sun. So again, there's going to be a lot of, or opposing that Aries placement, wherever Aries is in your chart. It is going to be intense. It might feel, this might be the person you actually need to address this undercurrent of tension with, even if you haven't been speaking for a while, potentially. There might have been a cutting off of communication with this person, but I do see that it's important for you to speak out by the end of the month. It's definitely going to become clearer, and I think it's going to go better than you think. And those are all the messages that I am getting for you right now. I do hope that this video was helpful. Make sure to hit like and subscribe. Let me know in the comments down below what's going on for you. I am available for private readings. All of that information is in the description box below. Otherwise, I will see you next time. Bye, Aries.